This is a call for an uprising. Welcome to today's show. Get a load of this ridiculous propaganda once again being pushed on a major YouTube channel. Of course, one of these channels that doesn't have any censorship. They can talk about Satanism without being censored. As major, propaganda scumbags that all these people are, who constantly are out there promoting Satanism as if it's some atheist religion. Here's a video that somebody passed along to me from a channel called All Time Tens, and it's the 10 biggest misconceptions about Satanism. And what do they tell you right off the bat? They tell you the stuff that I'm constantly telling you about.
Ten biggest misconceptions about Satanism. Number 10, devil worship. This misconception is actually pretty understandable. Seeing as he's literally name-dropped in the title, you'd assume Satanism is the worship of Beelzebub. But the majority of modern Satanists are actually just atheists. In fact, the Church of Satan states on its website, yes, Satanists have websites too, that we do not believe in Satan as a being or person. Instead, the site explains that Satan is a symbol of pride, liberty, and individualism, and serves as a metaphorical projection of our highest personal potential. Basically, that means that Satan is used as a symbol of the rejection of religious ideas that people should live to serve others. 7. Ritual sacrifice. One of the most inseparable perceptions attached to Satanism is that of ritual sacrifice. This perception has spread for a number of reasons, but there are as many reasons explaining exactly why it's nonsense. Take sensationalist news stories about satanic sacrifices, for example. Typically, these killings are attributed to Satanists, but have typically just been committed by the mentally ill, and are based upon a Christian perception of Satan and Satanism. In fact, the Church of Satan's founder, Anton LaVey, outlined 12 rules for Satanists, and number 10 states, do not kill non-human animals unless you're attacked or for food. Granted, the rules do mention destroying enemies, but Church of Satan Reverend Ashley Palmer explains that this is heavily open to interpretation. The destruction mentioned is typically reserved for self-defense or as an eye-for-an-eye act of retaliation, rather than sacrifice of the innocent. But Palmer assures that Satanists are strict advocates of law and order. This requires them to operate within the legal parameters of their country of residence, and last time I checked, most countries uphold ritual sacrifice as a strict no-no. Number 6, war on Christianity. Seeing as Satanism was established to highlight and deride the flaws of the Christian Church, it's usually assumed that Satanists hold a deep hatred of Christians. But this broad-stroke judgment would actually be out of line with the individualism at the center of the Satanist belief system. Satanists are critical of the adverse effects of mass religion, and are generally wary of Christians, not least because of the regular smears and media attacks they face from them. But Satanists generally try not to impose their beliefs upon others, and are very tolerant provided you do the same in return. For instance, the Christian metal band Stryper explained that despite their religion-heavy songs, many Satanists openly list them as their favourite band. Satanists can even celebrate Christian holidays like Christmas. They're able to celebrate any unholiday they wish, and the Church of Satan explains that Christians stole this holiday from the pagans, so they see no real conflict of interest. They also claim that Santa Claus has come to signify indulgence, which Satanists are famously all about. Number 5, demon summoners. The misconception here isn't actually that Satanists summon demons, but that it's a bad thing when they do. As I mentioned before, most modern Satanists are atheists, so them trying to summon demons is pretty much a waste of their time. Satanic panic. The word Satanism is frequently bandied around during discussions of systematic abuse, especially that of children. The two are so synonymous that every time a public figure is outed for such crimes, stories abound of their secret Satanism, and many just see the religion as a front for ritual abuse. But this can all be traced back to one book published in 1980. Canadian psychiatrist Lawrence Pasda published the book Michelle Remembers, based on his wife's and patients' childhood memories. Allegedly, Michelle Smith had repressed memories of being abused by her family in satanic rituals when she was a child, in which the devil himself appeared. For some strange reason, this resulted in widespread skepticism, and the book is now widely considered as debunked. But regardless, it started an epidemic of fear, with others suddenly remembering their own satanic abuse. In 1983, this led to the high-profile trial of the owners of a California preschool. The FBI looked into the claims, and eventually all suspects were cleared. But the fallout of these accusations had persisted in Satanist perceptions to this day. Number 2. World domination. This one is pretty conspiracy heavy, so it's as difficult to definitively disprove as the inevitable comments accusing us of being a Satanist channel. Similarly to Illuminati conspiracies, this theory follows that the world is secretly run by Satanists, who pray and make sacrifices to the King of Darkness in return for wealth and power. But the theory is questionable for a number of reasons. Firstly, Satanism is about self-empowerment, not the empowerment of the religion itself. It was formed specifically to oppose what it saw as the overbearing power of Christianity, which asked people to live modestly for a greater collective goal. So to say Satanists run the world, or have a secret global agenda, is not exactly in line with their MO. In fact, the first of the Church of Satan's 11 rules implores followers not to give opinions or advice unless you are asked.
This whole thing is nothing more than a show to try to normalize Satanism as an atheist group, right? They come out and they say they actually don't believe in anything, and they go through all of these little different 10 things in Satanism. They talk about LaVey and the stuff LaVey teaches. If you've watched this channel a while, I've told you many times they use LaVey as a front and as a cover, okay, with his Satanic Bible. They don't mention the connections to Aleister Crowley. They never have. They never will, which is whose teachings they really follow. They even get into ritual sacrifice and how crazy all of us are for believing in those types of things without any proof of anything ever happening before. And of course, the thing that pisses me off more than anything is the fact that these people can sleep at night and they can come out here and they can talk about things like the McMartin preschool trial, which if you've watched my channel, you know that's the thing pretty much that woke me up. I mean, I knew there was something wrong, but until I started researching that, until I started understanding what was possibly going on, once my brain could fathom that this stuff was going on, because in my head I just was like, there's no way people are this disgusting and sick. And once I started researching that, I finally began to wake up. But they blame things like McMartin, satanic cults, and ritual abuse on film, right? On movies. And then they use the Bible. I mean, you can hear some of the absolute garbage that they spew in these types of videos. And this is so important for them because this is how it becomes normalized. Because they're going to continue to invert everything and make us look like the crazy bigots and make Satanists look like these loving, apologetic type people who come out and they speak for women's rights and feminine, and of course pushing all these movements, pro-abortion, right? Attacking people who claim to be victims of satanic ritual abuse. I mean, shouldn't that be something that alarms people? Right? Of course, they bring up the New World Order in the video. They bring up world domination and how Satanists, that people think that they exist because of all these conspiracies about world domination. And then they talk about black magic, and they continue to try to water all of these things down like they're not real. And that's why channels like mine, I believe, are important. Whether anybody else out there doesn't believe so, and they think that I should be talking more about politics and this other crap, at the end of the day, this is spiritual warfare. This is God against Satan. Okay? There's souls at stake. And when I'm showing you this stuff constantly being pushed in your face, constantly seeing Satanism in pop culture, everywhere you turn, it should be enough to help wake people up to see the nonsense that's going on. And apparently it just doesn't seem like it's getting across to people. Apparently it just doesn't seem like it. Now, I have, of course, a channel that has grown very big to the hatred of many people out there. I'm now going through the YouTube censorship again, this time with suppressed views and all this other stuff and taking subscribers, something that hasn't happened to me in 3+ years of having a channel. I've never had issues. I'd average, 300 new subs or so a day. This is all because they're not allowing this type of stuff, whether you're talking about politics and conspiracies and those types of things, or you're talking about Satanism. Okay, they go hand in hand because they're connected to each other, right? Because the core of this stuff is all about the occult. And I know this channel has helped wake up so many people, and I'm beyond blessed and happy for it. But, I'm getting to the point where this is just becoming frustrating because this is all the stuff that you see. Hello, look at this. The 11 best demons to summon. All these articles, these pop culture articles are teaching kids how to summon demons, how to use the Ouija board to summon spirits, how all these kids who come forward and claim to be victims of satanic ritual abuse all make it up. They just make it up. Right? Back in the 80s, they all just got together without cell phones, barely could speak. Some of them were 2-3 years old, and they just came up with this plan. Oh, their parents came up with this plan, I'm sure, right? All they do is sit there and deflect like a bunch of cowards because that's all that they are. And I wish that, as these guys stick together, I wish in this community there's, and I don't even consider myself in the truther community, even just followers of Christ or people as a channel, that we all could stick together and fight against this and do something about it. It's just, you start to just think maybe we're on the losing end of this, at least here, maybe just me. Maybe that's just how I'm feeling now, realizing that this stuff is so rampant and so obvious and nobody seems to care. And the more you show people, the less they seem to care. And the bigger joke people think it is. I'm not going to be the kind of guy who sits here and says, I told you so when crap hits the fan, because you're going to see it for yourself. But this is the stuff that's going to be produced. This is the stuff that's going to come out. Telling you that Satanism isn't what you think. Making it acceptable, making it normal, having celebrities promote it, right? And then what? Destroying and bashing Christianity. I mean, the falling away has occurred. Now it's just a question of, are we going to have anybody out there who's going to stand up and fight for Christ? I'm doing all that I can on my end, at least with my energy, putting it into the researching and doing videos and all that stuff. But, there's the lack of support. I mean, it's difficult to do. I'm not complaining. I'm just maybe in one of those ruts where, you realize that, you're fighting a losing battle in the sense of the free speech just continues to leave, right? The censorship continues to clamp. And this video actually wasn't even going to go down that route. But just while I'm recording it, while I'm looking at the screenshots that I took from this video, it makes me so sick. These people make me ill, violently ill, looking at them. And they're everywhere. Everywhere. And they've taken something that God's created that's beautiful in this world, and they've destroyed it. They've destroyed it because they're selfish. Because they want to do what thou wilt. Really just sick. So this is just another huge YouTube channel. 5.5 million people sitting there talking to kids and telling people that whatever they hear about Satanism is just from crazy conspiracy nuts, and that they're really just political people and great people, and they're here to try to, push this love movement and this tolerance movement, and nobody gets it because most of the people aren't smart enough to get it, unfortunately. And a lot of people are naive and won't get it. And a lot of people refuse to get it because they don't want to believe that evil exists in this world. And it's draining knowing what goes on day in and day out. Anyway, I want to thank everybody for listening to today's show. I want to thank everyone out there who supports the channel through Patreon and Teespring and watches the ads and all that stuff. I appreciate the support gratefully. Thanks again for listening. God bless all of you.